And look at the words themselves. The pronoun I becomes he, the verb am shifts backward to was, and the time word now changes to then. You're not just repeating the words, you're translating that exact moment into the past.
Moving on to Section 2, the 4 Golden Rules.
Now, if you want to rewrite sentences successfully on your exams, and I know you do, you absolutely must memorize these 4 steps. Think of them as your ultimate cheat sheet for every question. Step 1, you will always adjust the pronouns to match who is speaking. Step 2, you backshift the tense, meaning you push the timeline 1 step into the past. Step 3, you tweak the time and location words to show distance. And Step 4, strip away the punctuation. So no more commas before the quote, and definitely no quotation marks. Looking closely at Rule 1, you can see how the first person I must switch to the third person she. Why? Well, because you are the one reporting the quote. You have to match the perspective of the person reporting the speech. Makes sense, right? Okay, let's look at Rule 2, backshifting. Now pay attention, because this is where most marks are lost. Notice how you've got to push the verb 1 step further into the past. Simple present becomes simple past. Present continuous becomes past continuous, and look at the simple past. It gets pushed all the way back to the past perfect. Even your modal verbs shift. Will turns into would, and can turns into could. Basically, you are reporting from a distance in time.
Which brings us right to Rule 3. Since you're reporting the speech later, and honestly, often in a completely different place, words indicating nearness have to change to show that distance. Now becomes then, today becomes that day, tomorrow turns into the next day, and here becomes there. So if someone said, I am here today, you'd report it as they were there that day.
All right, let's get into Section 3, questions, commands, and exceptions.
All right, Year 10, that covers your standard statements. But what about yes or no questions? First off, we drop the question mark entirely. Then, we use joining words like if or whether. And this is absolutely crucial. We flip the sentence structure back to a normal statement. So it's not, he asked if was I happy, it's he asked if I was happy. See that? The word order goes right back to subject, then verb.
Now, what about commands? When you're reporting an order, you completely abandon the tense backshifting rule we just talked about. Yep, just toss it out. Instead, you simply use a strong reporting verb like ordered, advised, or told, followed by the word to and the infinitive verb. So sit down simply becomes ordered the students to sit down. And if it's a negative command, like don't touch that, it becomes told them not to touch that.
And here is a massive exception to the backshifting rule, one that examiners absolutely love to test. If the original statement is a universal truth, a scientific fact, or an unchanging condition, like this profound quote from Buddha right here, the tense does not change at all. Even if the reporting verb is in the past, you would say, Buddha said that we make the world with our thoughts. The present tense remains because, well, the truth remains.
Okay, let's tackle Section 4, avoiding common exam mistakes.
I need everyone paying close attention here, class. This is essentially a hit list of the exact traps students fall into every single year, from mixing up say and tell to forgetting to change demonstrative pronouns like this into that. So many students just completely ignored changes to modal verbs, or honestly, worse, they mixed direct and indirect styles in a single sentence, like saying, she said I love it and that she would buy it. It's a grammatical nightmare.
Let's break down the classic say versus tell trap. Just look at the incorrect sentence. You literally cannot say, she told that she was tired. You have to remember that the verb tell always requires a personal object. You tell someone something. You tell me, you tell him, you tell us. Say, on the other hand, does not need an object. So it's she said that she was tired, or she told me that she was tired. Another huge mistake is forgetting to backshift your modal verbs. Check out the correct version here. Will absolutely must become would. Can becomes could. May becomes might. Now remember, words like would, could, should, and might generally stay exactly the same, but you absolutely must shift the present tense modals backward.
All right, let's put all this into practice with a quick virtual pop quiz using this actual worksheet. Question 1. The direct speech is, I will finish my homework, she said. Think about the rules. We need to shift the pronoun, shift the modal verb, and add that. So if we apply our masterclass rules, it becomes, she said that she would finish her homework. Did you get it right? I hope so.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5.
sounding like a native speaker.
Okay, I want you to put your textbook notes aside for just a second. I really want you to notice the gap here between the exam hall and the real world. Native speakers rarely sound like robots, starting every single sentence with he said that or she said that. I mean, think about it. When was the last time you heard that in a casual chat? Almost never, right? Instead, they use naturally flowing phrases like, apparently he was tired, or I heard he wasn't feeling well.
So, the crucial takeaway here is this. We don't just report facts, we report the experience. In real, everyday conversations, it's not about frantically memorizing backshifting cables in your head. It's about conveying the feeling of the story. You're reliving the scene to share the frustration, the excitement, or the juicy gossip with your friends. The grammar is just there to support the story. It shouldn't sound like you're solving a math equation.
Which brings us to your final homework assignment for today's explainer. If a friend gossips, I am skipping class today, how would you take that direct quote, apply the rules of time and tense shifting we just learned, but deliver it casually tomorrow like a true native speaker? Maybe something like, apparently she was skipping class yesterday. Remember, the rules of grammar are really just tools year 10. Once you master the mechanics to pass your exams, the real fun is learning how to bend them to tell your own story. So what story will you tell? Class dismissed.